Introduce yourself, Lee.
I'm Lee.
Well done.
Lee. Firstly, I'd like to start by saying, Akemi, you look beautiful. And thank you for turning up. Thank you for marrying him. Thank you for saying yes. James, well done. Punching a little bit above that. I joke. Actually, Akemi told me that she's marrying James for his body. I actually bet that James hopes a little part of that's true, and I'm pretty sure we all know what little part that is. Secondly, I'd like to thank Akemi and James, on a serious note, on behalf of all of us guests for inviting us for their special day. So thank you guys. But now is the part where James starts to sweat, starts to feel a little uncomfortable in the seat. No, it's not when I give him the bill for the wedding, it's my character assassination. On a side note, I'd like to apologise if I refer to him as Jimmy. I'm trying really hard, for Akemi's benefit, to call him James. I know she thinks it's a bit weird when I call him Jimmy, but Jimmy's just better. So I'd like to take you through a little journey, and I promise this will feel like the shortest 3 hours of your life. Having been briefed first on what I'm not allowed to say in the speech, you'll be happy to know you won't hear anything about priests and cucumbers, drug smuggling in Thailand, ex-girlfriends, oh sorry, that's a smudge, ex-girlfriend, Naomi, age 10, whilst he was at primary school, my dad. So. And you definitely won't hear anything about kissing what he thought was a woman. That's true. So, I've known James for 15 years. It's been a great friendship that will hopefully still be intact after I finish this speech. First time I met him, I was standing in assembly, and he decided to ram his elbow straight into my chest, only to turn around to find I wasn't actually his intended target, but it was pretty much love at first bite. Those of you that knew James at secondary school, okay, looking here, will remember he represented a certain character of The Simpsons, a certain Ralph Wiggum. It might have something to do with his cooking. You would never go hungry when you stayed around James's, mainly because normal people would cook with maybe 1 or 2 cheeses and maybe a hint of garlic. No, not James. Now he would use 4 variants of cheese on a pizza that already has cheese and an entire knob of garlic. I'm now lactose intolerant, thanks to him. You can imagine the smell of the bedroom. But no one can say he's not a good friend. I'm an awful person to keep in contact with, be it work or just because I'm really lazy. But no, not James. He always makes the effort, and thank goodness he does, because that's why we've stayed such good friends. The issue is where he contacts me from. James went through a substantial number of phones when we were younger, and it's not because I angered him so much on the phone that he threw it into the wall. No, it's the location he used to call me from. Yeah, that's right. He used to call me whilst he was on the porcelain throne. And halfway through the conversations, at least 3 times, the phone would suddenly go dead. And then a couple of hours later he'd call me back and explain to me that he'd actually dropped the phone down the toilet. That's not the most disturbing part. The most disturbing part is the fact that he was calling me on the same phone. You kissed those cheeks. But he's always been a good organiser for big events, and I've spent a fair few New Year's Eve parties with him. One year there was a massive party going on at the Higby's home. So James said to me, "Oh, come over to my grand's beforehand, we'll get ready and then we'll go." Apparently the party was awesome. I say apparently because James managed to convince me to stay with him New Year's Eve and play Monopoly and watch 6 hours of Lord of the Rings extras, not even the movies, the extras. Actually, come to think of it, I'm not sure who comes out with it. Probably should have put that one up. James has always been very fashion conscious, and 99% of the time I'd say he's got better fashion sense than me, but we all make mistakes. And James was in the form of a hideous, ghastly snake ring he used to wear around his thumb. Big old metal thing. But he used to wear a lot of jewellery, and he also would never be seen without his extremely expensive Oakley sunglasses that he used to wear on his forehead. So I remember one time I stayed with his dad and in Australia for a fair old bit, and we were on Mooloolaba Beach, and I was in the sea swimming. Like normal people, I was just wearing swimming shorts, and James decided to join me in the sea. Of course, he wore all of his jewellery, and the oak leaves were firmly planted on his head. He walked towards me, and as I turned round, I noticed a huge wave, about 2 feet taller than me, coming towards me, and I managed to turn just quickly enough to see the panic-stricken look on his face before the thing wiped him out. And he emerged from the water, completely drenched, without the oak leaves. He goes to me, "Lee, you've got to find them. So I'm searching, an impossible task, looking across the ocean for these sunglasses, when he walks up, and I assume it's a sulk. And then I don't notice he's actually gone out of sight, and I'm still looking. And his dad turns up and goes, "Where's James?" And I was like, "I'm not sure, I think he went off to Mooloolaba." And we're looking down, and we see him coming in the distance, and as he gets closer I notice he's got his oak leaves on his head. I'm like, this is a miracle, how did he find them? Oh no, not James. He managed to walk from the beach, straight along the beach to Mooloolaba, straight to the nearest Oakley store and buy the exact same thing. Probably on Mummy's credit card. Only Jimmy. And I say Jimmy, not James, because he's changed now, those sport days are over. When he became a student, he had to struggle with only 3 variants of cheese. He had to drink house wine with his steak. But at uni, James decided to cheat on me for a taller, blonder man. And honestly, Dan told me a delightful story about his New Year's Eve experience with James. Apparently, James had a little too much to drink. This is unsubstantiated, probably not true. But whilst inebriated, he decided to swing through the patio and greet the concrete floor, with his face. An ambulance soon followed, only to announce to the house that only one member of the household could go with James to the hospital. And James, being the good, honourable friend, insisted that Dan went with him and managed to single-handedly alter someone else's, one of his best mates' New Year's Eve experiences. This also included referring to the black nurse as Turk out of Scrubs, and not having enough money to get back, having to call up his mum on New Year's Eve to try and save them by paying Dan back for the taxi. But now James is an adult. He has a job, finally. Yeah. He has a lovely wife, whom he shares a home. He is, to all intents and purposes, a respectable member of society. Many people would now call him boring. I stop you, but that's not fair. I prefer dull. But before I'm actually nice to him, and you'll be happy to know the end is in sight. Whilst on the stag do, James received quite a lot of advice from many experts in marriage. One of the bits of advice he received from this lovely gentleman, who forced himself on us, was that he should have many affairs, but be subtle about it. This said source of wisdom then told us he'd been married twice, divorced twice, and would never marry again. Clearly good. So, having not married myself, I'm in absolutely no way able to give good marriage advice, but I'm going to do it anyway. Everyone thinks of marriage as this long journey together as you battle through all the struggles of life. Forget all that. Think of it as a cage fight. And divorce is for quitters. James has always been a loyal, caring and generous brother to me. He's a better man than I, but at least today I can call myself the best man. I look forward to creating many more memories with the both of you. I love you both dearly. Could you please join me in a toast to wish them the happiest life together, to James and Akemi. Thanks for being a lovely audience and a lovely speech.